We're the last panel of the day. I didn't hear, except for one guy there that clapped her hand. So we have a warm welcome from everybody? Yes, thank you so much. So if you can tell, we're an all-female panel, and we're going to be talking about how we women paved the way in Web3 and Gen AI. Before we actually start, my name is Akina Ho. I'm the co-founder of All Star Women DAO, which is going to be an investment DAO on a DeFi platform supporting female entrepreneur or male entrepreneur in the Web3 and Gen AI space that supports female in the whole sector. So statistically, as of end of 2023, there is only 13 female founder in the Web3 AI space, according to BCG. And there's only about 22 female worker in the whole AI sector around the world. That was just not a lot of that. So before we start, I would love my esteemed panel speakers and founders to introduce who they are, what they do, and the most important thing, for some of you may make it a little bit too young, to how do you guys move from Web 2 to Web 3 and become a founder in the Web 3 and Gen AI space. Annie, why don't we start with you?
Thanks, Akina. So I'm Annie Hui, COO and co-founder of Custonomy. We are a Hong Kong local startup that's actually founded in 2020. So basically, we are doing a business in a wallet technology, wallet infrastructure. We want to be a trusted partner and assist all the enterprise to embrace the Web3 technologies in their business. So our strategy is very simple. We provide a enterprise a holistic solutions to safeguard the digital asset, as well as provide them some tools to help them to tap into the Web3 business. And we also have a patent key measurement solutions based on the MPC technologies. So we believe that our solutions can actually help all the enterprise to go into the Web3 safe and easy for everyone. Regarding the question about what is the biggest...
How you move into Web3?
How I move in? Actually, I'm a Web2 IT person, very well also in my industry. Always the only woman work in the field. Around 2013, we start to look into blockchain, and of course, also like everybody else, doing some investment. And we actually have a lot of different incidents. So we found that the wallet technologies did have a lot of room to improve. So that's why we want to build something that we can help people to don't have a very techy background, but can still be able to manage a Web3 asset. And that is exactly why we start our company.
Okay, so Megan.
Hi, my name is Megan. I'm the CEO and founder of Red Tank. I'm based in Singapore. So Red Tank is a regulatory technology company. We mainly providing integrated red tech solution. We focus on the anti-money laundering. So in our solution, we incorporate the AI and machine learning to conduct a threat analysis of the user profile and their behaviors. And
so you're stopping like money laundering.
Yes, okay. Correct. So it's kind of like KYC and know your customers. So far we are able to cover more than 10,000 different type of identity documents from more than 190 countries all over the world. And at the same time, we also use the blockchain analysis and the real-time AI to monitor both the on-ramp and off-ramp transactions. So we monitor hundreds of millions of transactions. So, to identify the potential risk and the suspicious activities. So, in general, we have helped around 100 different clients, like the traditional financial institutions, the fintech firms, and also the crypto companies.
How did you move into did you ever was in Web 2 and then move into Web 3, or just started as Web 3?
Actually, for me, it's a little bit different. I started from Web 3, actually. So I get into the blockchain industry since 2017. So we help the projects to, work on their kind of tokenization and also the global expansion and compliance. And then from there, we know that we realize that compliance is something very important, and it's a big trend in this space. So that's why we have the idea of creating an AML tool, anti-money laundering tool for this industry.
Okay, Tess, you're all the way from?
San Francisco.
Right.
Thank you, Akina, and everyone here, Web3 Summit, for having me. So I'm Tess, founder and general partner of Tess Venture and Gaia Labs. We're based in Silicon Valley. We are probably the first venture capital fund that actually invests in AI and Web3 from over 8 years ago. So myself, the reason why Tess Ventures thesis is founders investing in founders is because I started my own company when I was in university in Toronto, where at that time I also came back to Hong Kong quite a lot because my family is also from Hong Kong. We believe that 3 things. Frontier technology is very important. Globally, it's going to converge. Everywhere's emerging together, and one day, we're going to bridge all of that. Third is empowering females. So later I'll discuss a little bit about how all those various aspects us at Tess Venture have tried to achieve and contribute to the ecosystem. So what we have done is been investing in AI almost over 10 years because of our time that we spent in Silicon Valley, which the last 15 years I spent time there. After my first company was acquired, I decided to go to Stanford and spend 2 years there, not focusing on education, not sitting in class, but trying to find those up-and-coming founders that we think has the potential, which is what we do today. So we decided that we want to be the person and the team that supports founders, and we support globally. We invest at all stages, and we also believe that we want to educate everyone that a team should have male and female leaders. It will help make the company, the organization, the product better. So I can share a little bit more about that later.
Okay, thanks, Tess. So I'm going back to Megan. So I know when we first met, there was an issue about you coming into a space that there's a lot of mature products and company already who does KYC. And then I would love to kind of hear from you, how do you break into that sector? Because I know you have some big clients. I would love you to share it. And how do you went through the challenge of competing with existing provider, and what was your first break in doing your business?
Yeah, sure, of course. Actually, in the industry of doing the KYC and the AML, of course, there's kind of some big companies already in the industry, but we realized that there's still some kind of special requirements is not met. And people are doing the general KYCs, but in certain scenarios or certain use case, let's say for example, some of the platforms, they have hundreds and thousands of users to onboard every day. So how to make the process more efficient and make it more faster to end user, but not to compromise the quality of the KYC. This is one of the things that we think we can improve the solution. So I think it's very important that to have certain advantage in certain areas. It's not necessarily to be a very big thing, but to meet the requirements of the customer so that we can win the customer. And of course, I think one of the things we did quite right is that we start from Singapore. We focus on that market first. And actually in 2021, after 8 months, we launched our product. We were quite honored to get the ASEAN FinTech Awards given by the regulator, the MAS of Singapore. So that really helped us to increase the credibility and help with our customer acquisition.
Okay, okay, thank you. So who gave you the first break, your first customer? Who was it?
It's if I'm not it's a asset management company in Singapore.
Okay, is it big?
It's not a big company, but it's quite a decent company, and they were like the traditional asset management, but they want to move into the crypto space. So that's why they find our solution is more suitable for their use case. So
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome, great, thanks. Okay, Tess, you've been in the Silicon Valley for a while, and you have started your own VC fund. Can you tell how big is your fund, and when measuring with the big boys in the Silicon Valleys, how do you match up? How do you compete, and how do you fight for the deal flows?
Thank you, Akina. Happy to share. So Tess Venture, at this point, I think we're at least over 100 million AUM. We've been very lucky. Over the last 10 years, we've invested in almost over 200 companies, Half of that are Web3 companies because we've been investing since almost 2016. We've been fortunate. We've been early in Solana. We have invested in a lot of the original Web3 companies because at Silicon Valley, we're lucky to be in the ecosystem that has Berkeley, Stanford, and a lot of those intellectual, heavy, intense, deeper technology information came out of that. So they were able to help us unpack and explain to the rest of the world the importance of this. So we learned a lot sitting there and was able to see a lot of opportunities. Now, I think it's another point that a lot of the best investors who started in VC are in Silicon Valley. So a lot of times, the companies we invest in are with, Sequoia, Andreessen Horowitz, Dragonfly, and a lot of the other, very, done extremely incredible things in the world. So I think what's also very important to mention is, for me, we have decided that investing in early stage is our sweet spot. But because we believe in cultivating long-term relationship, we also think when a founder later comes to us that we didn't know, we also want to support them. So I think it's also key that we look at the portfolio of what we've invested in. We believe in cross-pollination, where we want portfolio companies to also help the other portfolios, and oftentimes their technology can collaborate or there's synergy. And if they don't know, we try to bridge this and make the intros and be able to amplify each of the company's value proposition.
Great, thanks. So you are open to investing in Asian, based company and startups. Okay.
Absolutely, globally, Middle East, Asia, Latin America, Africa. Our portfolio, if you take a look at testventure.xyz, has all of this, or my LinkedIn, Test How.
Excellent, great. So Annie, after hearing these two founders, what are you thinking in your mind? Because I know you're fundraising soon or fundraising right now. And at what stage is your company and how do you see yourself fit into this whole fundraising ecosystem building structure?
Well, yes, thanks for your advice and your experience as well. I think our company also quite aligned to what they are looking for as well. So first of all, I agree with you. Finding a customer is very important, right? Especially when we find a customer, we have to make sure the customer is satisfied with your solutions. Not just getting them into use it, but then you let it there and then don't take care about it. But you have to manage their experience. And from our company, we're not just talking about user experience, but we also manage the developer experience, because what we want to do is being a trust advisor for an enterprise. And then talking about fundraising, actually all the way when we are trying to find investor, we are not just looking for money. We're actually looking for a very strategic investor as well. So when we're looking for an investor, we also want to understand their portfolio behavior, whether they have some projects that can leverage each other so that we can have a 1 + 1 more than 2 effect, right? So this is exactly what we are doing at the moment as well.
Okay, so I want to go back to you, Tess. So based on your experience and what you invest in and stuff like that, I know you do travel a lot between Silicon Valley to Middle East and then a little bit in Asia. Can you tell us why is that? What do you see the differences in these three regions?
That's a great question. Very early, sitting in Toronto, I really understand that global is important, because in Toronto, it's multicultural. Sitting in Palo Alto, where I lived the last 15 years, it's not quite as multicultural, except for the international students coming in. So I saw that in Toronto, the neighbors were Yugoslavian, Russian, Indian, Middle East. So what I realized when I get to Silicon Valley, I definitely need to continue that global perspective. So our investment thesis also has the following pillar: emerging markets. So in 2016, we already saw the next big opportunity at that time was Southeast Asia. So we spent a lot of time in Indonesia, Jakarta, in Thailand, in
Not Hong Kong?
Hong Kong was always home. We always pass by Hong Kong, so I got to come back a lot. We also do love investing in our roots, which a lot of my portfolio, the founders are from Hong Kong. are Canadian, such as Matrix Universe. They're here too. And, they're also
Animoca
global.
brands.
Animoca brands for sure with Yatsu. We also bring them to Middle East. So the last 2 years, to your question, we saw the value and the importance of what Middle East would have an impact on the world and on technology. So what we do is identify the companies in our portfolio that we think are suitable to expand there. And the last 2 years, I spent 20 trips in Saudi, in Dubai, and have traveled with my portfolios. And together, we've made impact in these places, especially in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, which Ethereum Foundation, one of our portfolios, and we also helped launch, and that was very
Right.
successful. So hopefully all of you guys will be invited to it this year end of this year.
Sounds good. Okay, Megan, you're from Singapore. You started in Singapore. After hearing this, does it impact or change your strategy? And what was your original strategy of expansion? Are you just sticking in Singapore or are you going out?
Yeah, we are headquartered in Singapore, but actually, people say Singapore is a very small market, right? But for us, we are not limited to the small markets because, Singapore is still kind of the financial center in this part of the world. And almost all the fintech companies, the Web3 companies, at least have some people in Singapore, right? So it's actually easier for us to, reach out to the global markets through Singapore. But of course, from our point of view, we also want to go to some other places. Actually, right now we have clients from Southeast Asia, from Hong Kong, from Europe. But the next big thing is, agree with you, Middle East is something, the markets there is good, and more importantly to our industry that the regulators there are catching up. So they are building a more established infrastructure in terms of anti-money laundering and compliance. So that's something we are looking for.
So I'm hearing rumor that Singapore government actually is retracting, setting regulation up to properly invite digital asset company. Is that true or not true?
Sir.
You're not listening.
Okay.
So I'm saying, I'm hearing rumors that the Singapore government is actually retracting regulations to support company that are in the Web3 space. Is that true or not true? Like they don't want it to regulate. They don't want you to come because it's dangerous.
I don't think so. I don't think so because Singapore is a financial center. So Web3 and cryptocurrencies definitely is something new and it's something worth for them to try. But more importantly, they need to keep the reputation as a traditional global financial center. So as the new guidelines from the MAS, right, they have some new requirements in terms of customer funds custodian and also the funds safeguarding to the companies who are dealing with the cryptocurrencies, right? So even though it's kind of tightened the requirements.
It is tightened.
It's
really
tightened, but okay, still like they are talking with the industry people how to better protecting the customers' funds. Because one of the reasons is FTX,
Smiling.
right?
You're saying this with a smile. So.
Something was happened last year, FTX and Temasek was involved in that. So the government is becoming more cautious. But I do believe that the Singapore government is always encourage innovation in the fintech and the Web3 space.
Okay, good. Okay, Annie from Hong Kong, right? So what's your take on Hong Kong government supporting the Web3 space, the crypto space, digital asset space, and where are you going next?
Actually, right now, well, way before 5 years ago when we start a crypto company in Hong Kong, actually, to be honest, it's not easy. At that time, we don't have the support from the government, and a lot of people actually not familiar with crypto and even think that it is a scam. So, and at that time, the startup atmosphere itself is not very good in Hong Kong, right? It's not very common thing. So a lot of my friends actually ask me, why you come out from your comfort zone and take a big risk to start a company? But of course, we want to do something to impact the community, and we also see that there is a trend for the Web3 and for the blockchain. So we have to take this chance, okay? But there is something that is very fortunate is Hong Kong is actually a very amazing city, very internationalized. So as long as you can step out from your comfort zone, you can meet a lot of different various people to help you. So, and then even though the market is not very big when comparing to other countries, but I always say that, I always describe Hong Kong as a river mouth where the seawater and the fresh water meet. So we can benefit from the China market and also from the international market. So if we do it right, if we do it correctly, then actually we have a better prospect than any other country else.
So where are you going after Hong Kong?
Of course, some crypto-friendly countries.
China, I'm just kidding.
We will wait. Okay, we will wait that one.
Right.
Okay, don't be too rushed. Okay, for that one. But like Tess said, actually, UAE and we have established some customers in the Asian market, and also we see that recently the Latin America is also have a lot of potential.
Okay, interesting. So, in the first few questions, what we have established that female founders are actually very smart. They think like any other founders. There's no difference in our ability, capability, and our foresight in building a company in Web 2 or Web 3 and AI. We're very smart, right? So, of course, this topic is about how we as female can actually survive, thrive, and succeed in a male-dominant world. Tech is male-dominant. We look at the percentage, it's true, right? And the most important thing is that we are educated differently at home and at work. We're given certain roles or expect to be in certain roles. Now, finding that balance, whether you educate at work or at school, different in which culture, which country you come from, you're taught differently. How do you balance and how do you face or you handle challenges when they say, hey, you're a woman, you should be at home cooking, or you're a woman, you should be at home giving childbirth, right, watching the child, or instead of leading and building a company and supporting other founders. Tess, for you specifically, what have you seen, what have you faced challenge, and how you balance it out?
Thank you. Yeah, so I have an 8-year-old, and because the nature of my work, I have to fly a lot because I want to support my portfolio, and they're all over the world. I want to be able to say yes to all these speaking opportunities where we can share our insights and knowledge to different audiences. And that's why even though Middle East is so far away, I still do it. However, how I've managed that, it is difficult, is I make sure my son understands where I'm going. So oftentimes before I land into that city or country, he knows all about it, and he's preparing me of what is going, to see what is famous in that place. Obviously, I have no time for sightseeing, so he knows way more than me, and I'm just astounded. The others is, right before I came here, I organized 2 big of my own summit in Silicon Valley, and I brought him too, and I gave him a shout out on stage. I said, today we have a special guest, not only my founders, but my 8-year-old son, and he was smiling. He actually said, Mommy, how come my logo is not on your backdrop? And I thought that was extremely cute. But I merge him into my work settings. He knows almost every founder that he's had an opportunity to meet. On the Zoom meetings, he's always like, Mommy, can I say hi? And I'm like, these CEOs only have 15 minutes. And he goes, no, please, it'll be fast. So it's just
It's more inclusive. As a mom, you're more inclusive, bringing your child into your scene. That's how you balance your mommy
Exactly.
role with your being a venture capitalist.
Yes,
role.
honestly, it is tough because if you separate it all, but because of what I do, since 3 years old, he's already been coming to me to the Harmony Friday TGIs, which is, just across the street. So he knows all the founders and everyone. So he himself actually says he wants to be an entrepreneur in his startup. So he's always presenting and, overpowering my CEO friends that come to our house. He's like, can you listen to my presentation? So I guess
What is your challenge, though? I mean, this is good to hear.
Well,
that you're your own boss and you can make that happen.
Yeah.
A lot of company does not welcome mommy bringing the child to
Yes,
work.
exactly.
So, what are some of your challenges in your way that you say, "Oh my God, I didn't expect that because I'm a woman. That's why I'm facing this." What was it, and how do you overcome that?
Yeah. So I think I had to be really creative. The challenge obviously is, even if, I was not able to find help and I'm running a meeting, a whiteboard session, what do I do? Because, some of these founders, I've just meeting them for the first time, and it is difficult to explain to them, why is your son there? But I think being authentic is very important. If you're going to be investing in these founders or you're going to be working with them, even if it's a corporate setting, I think the work setting now today understands the challenges that women have because we play so many roles. We are a mom, we are a daughter to our mom and dad, we are a wife, we are also, taking care of all these different responsibility, and we all supposed to maintain and look healthy and sharp and,
Pretty at the time.
well dressed and, all that, or else they judge you. So, for me, I just think, try to be who you are and share your situation instead of hide it, because I
Right.
feel that actually causes a lot more problems. And if they don't understand, figure out why they don't understand, try to change it. And if they really cannot change, you just need to change yourself and probably find a new opportunity and reach out to friends, share. People's willing to help. Always
That's
ask
great.
for help.
Yeah, I was asked for help. Megan, do you have a child?
No.
Not yet, right?
Not yet.
Okay, you're still young. Right, good. So why don't you share about your role, dual role, being a founder, being young, right, in a very male-dominant space. How do you handle it? And what are some of your challenges?
If we talk about the work-life balance, I'm fortunate that I do not face that typical challenge because my husband is also my business partner. So we co-founded Red Tank.
Right.
So that means we share the same goals and the objectives both in work and life. That makes things a lot easier. So for example, let's say, okay, cook for dinner. I say no.
And it's okay.
Because we both work there, right? So we just go out for dinner. It's very easy.
Finish the presentation first.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
And then does that impact your life to be a mom? That's come into the picture? That the husband said, well, one day you have to stop being the CEO and go home and be a mom.
Not really. So this one we have talked before. So
Okay,
even though
there is a topic then. right, okay.
yeah. So actually, even though we after we have the child, right? So we still can manage to spend a lot of time in work because we are that kind of person. And we were talking today. Say, hey, after we have the child, shall we? Only two of us to go like half a month to go overseas, work and enjoy life. He said, of course, yes, let's go.
Okay.
So it won't be an issue.
Okay, so yeah, all right, good. You guys talk about it. Okay. Annie, so are you a mom?
Yes.
Okay, and you're also a wife?
Yes.
Okay, right. So now you're a founder. And do your husband work for you or with you?
No.
Okay,
No,
good.
no.
Okay, so totally different atmosphere. So how do you overcome managing and balancing different roles, and how do you evolve, especially when your husband is not part of your journey?
He's not even part of IT industry.
Okay, wow. Okay.
But I agree with Tess. One thing is very important is transparency and communication, right? So as long as they truly understand what we are doing, why we have to do that, and there is one more trick that I always use is I want to take a role in my journey. Okay, so like I have a kids, right? So I will tell them what's Web3 like, what the world will be, and if you want to play games, it's okay, but please play some play-to-earn game, like a Web3 game.
Educating them early.
Exactly, all the cents in the sandbox is earned by my son actually. I even encourage them to build their own game, okay, and then publish in my land, and so just let them to understand more. And right now, not just comfort them at home so that nobody will trouble me, but actually I do have an in-house team to give me advices, right? Mom, this is not good. This is not user-friendly. And
So, yeah, they give you they're like your
Feedback.
at-home product manager.
exactly.
expert,
You
right.
get the feedback from the next generation. How can you do that in the market, right? You have to pay to do that. And then at the same time, they will also feel the importance in your life. And they will see it as part of journey. So besides, I tell my son where I go. Actually, every time I go for a trip, or even I come today, he will ask me, "What are you doing today? What is your topic of your panel? How many people in your panel?" It's so detailed. I'm like, okay, I will tell him as much as I can. Okay, so this is how I help handle all these things. But of course, we work so hard, right? Sometimes we have to reward ourselves, okay? So not just for work, but I will also find something that I'm really interested in. So besides working, I will do the things that I can do with my kids.
Right.
So they also have some
So
fun.
is your husband like that, or is just because you're a mom, you're like that?
My husband also like that.
Okay,
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
okay, so
yeah.
there's no gender in this case.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, so this is a surprise question just because it's based on what I'm hearing. Do you think that is it possible in the next 2 to 3 years that we can bring in more women into this space, and how do you think in your role you will be able to do that? Tess, let's start with you.
Yes, thank you. So obviously, what Akina is doing, her organization has done an incredible job. What Gaia Labs, we are a Silicon Valley accelerator incubator. Male and female are welcome. We spotlight females more. And at Test Venture, we have invested in at least 30% of our portfolio. Our women CEO are part of the founding
great.
team, such as Dr. Julia. She's a Signal XYZ. She's been doing incredible things around the world. Also, Rebecca, Saga XYZ. She's also, about to launch, her testnet mainnet this year. So there's been incredible female, and everyone has been very supportive. We also have been mentoring younger generation, so I think it's extremely important to do our role. These all take up a lot of our time. All of us, want to do this, educate and contribute, but I think it's well worth it. So I think we definitely are getting there. And oftentimes I see someone who is suitable to, get their MBA in Silicon Valley, and I try my best to map out and spend a lot of time with them, and have been very successful in helping identify some amazing women. And I tell them they actually have an edge. You're so suitable, but they're shy.
Are you
they're
biased
worried.
though? When you see a female founder, are you more biased to say, I want to make this work?
Yeah.
And I help them?
Right. So helping, I will help, male or female, because I have 2 younger brothers, 2 younger sisters, so they're my first management experience. I thank my parent. When I was young, I was always like, why are they always following me? And like everything I do,
So it's
I
fairly
have to agree
divided
them.
in half for you.
So for me, it's always been so balanced,
Okay,
right?
great.
So I've been lucky. So if I only dealt with sisters, maybe it's different. But I think, being able to be one of the guys or one of the, girls is just a great experience.
Right.
It gave me insight.
Thank you. Megan, about you. How would you help to bring in more female into the space?
I think for
Or is that even your thinking process in your mind?
I'm trying to.
Good.
Yeah, actually, for our own companies, our own projects, right? We don't look at the genders. It's just what kind of experience you have, what kind of things you're good at, and doing the right thing. Find the right person, do the right thing, right? So I also have a partner who is also a female, and we can work very closely together. And I realize there's a certain part of the work, right? We have female to work together. It's easier and it's more efficient.
Right.
So I think this is in our own organization. But of course, I think I'm trying to be more active in the kind of this industry. Trying to work with more female founder projects and talking to more female VCs, and easier to understand each other.
No, that's great. Annie.
So back to your question, whether in the future years there will be more girls going into industry,
Yeah,
right?
we're hopeful, and what do you do to
I can
help?
tell you it will become true.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
because from my experience in hiring, actually our company is doing a cryptography, right? So we definitely need something very specific knowledge in engineering, mathematics, or computer science, right? Surprisingly, a lot of candidates, they apply to our company, more than half is female.
Okay,
So I can
wow.
see this is a good trend. And so at the time when we established our R&D team, actually we hire more girls than boys.
Okay.
But not bias. It's really finding the right talent.
Just because it based
Yeah.
on merits, and so that's a good sign. Meaning that
Exactly.
females are really coming up with substance and
Yes.
merits for this field. Then
Yes, I think our responsibility is not to have bias because you're a girl, so we hire you. But it's that we still give you the chance, right? We give the same chance as a boy. Okay, and also very surprisingly, when we hire our management assistant, usually it's a girl, right? I hire a boy. Okay, not bias. Okay, definitely is. But because we really look at the talent, right? So even guys can also do some very detailed work, okay, be very patient as well. So I think our company has a very good balance on
that's
this
very
one.
good. So I'm going to go, and our last final question is, in your life, Megan, who is your role model, especially female model, if you have one, like that inspire you, and what specifically that they inspire you, that this person is so deep-rooted in your heart?
I couldn't say it's a role model, but when I was a child, I really learned a lot from my grandmother. So she was a very intelligent woman in terms of, very simple things in your life. So how to manage the relationships with different peoples, how to have good friends, and how to work things properly, never just like do something half and then you give up doing other things, right? So all these very fundamental small things actually build up who I am today. And along the way, I think it's very important to learn everyone. So a lot of people, everyone around you, there's something worth you to learn. So I think it's a journey to talk with people, learn from people, and almost everyone has certain things to be your role model.
So that's why you're so innovative and starting your own business, doing things that are already established, you still want to go after it. Okay, cool. Tess, about you?
For me, we've always had a lot of strong women in our family. So my grandma, my mom, and my grandpa's sister. So I think, mom and dad both were very entrepreneurial, both had a great impact on me. But it was also seeing the ability of the woman always facing hardship, but with such resilience. And I see that consistently, even now as I, meet founders. When things go wrong, the male founders generally they face it differently, whereas the females solve it, they figure out what it is.
More
they actually
practical.
are more emotionally calm. So when things are great, what we discovered, and this is just obviously generalizing first, but the specific cases is, things are great. The female, doesn't really have to take the shine. But when things are hard, they step up, especially when they see the other co-founders are a little bit weaker, where they are actually very scared. So I feel very, it's like amazed, because that's what happened in our family too. So my mom, my grandma, they've all faced a lot of different inflection points, even myself. And I think that's where I saw how they gone through it and still had, smiles and chin up. Although I know inside they were crying and hurting, and, I cry with them. But it really allowed me to see the strengths. And very lucky. My brothers and sisters both are strong. Not that one is stronger than the other. So I think, all this has helped shaped us.
Yeah, like Jack Ma says, right? He surrounds himself with a lot of women, because what he realized that women are more caring, more inclusive, and when they think of solving problem, they think of everyone in the whole company. What's the impact? And they take the route that best serves the company, practically, taking care of everybody's emotions and needs. So I think he's a pretty wise man, right? So you remind me of what he says. So Annie, what about you? Who's your role model?
My role model is also same is my grandma actually. My parents is a working parent, so I live with my grandma when I was very small. She is the most incredible and strong woman that I have ever seen in the world. As I share some story, you will understand. When she was very young, she lost all her family members in World War II. So she's the only one in the family left, okay. And then I can still remember to share the story about losing her last family members. At that time, she can either give up, but then she chose to move on. So she followed the crowd from Guangzhou to Hong Kong, just 10 years old girls. It's very, very tough, right?
Very tough.
Very tough. And she didn't receive any proper education, so she don't know how to read. But when I was small, I'm so amazing that how can she recognize all the bus routes, can go everywhere, and even can play mahjong, is word inside the mahjong, right? Okay, so that reminds me, even you don't have proper education, you can still learn every day. I can still remember when I'm doing my homework, she will sit by my side and practicing her signature, because she have to write it the same to the bank every month. And so from her, I can see that no matter how tough you are, as long as you believe, as long as you're strong enough, actually you can solve everything. And even you're alone, you can do it independently. It's not necessary to need to rely on somebody else.
Thank you so much. I mean, I have learned a lot about each of you guys and what you guys think. I think most important thing we want to share the message is that women does operate differently, function differently, lead differently. I think, and the most important thing is that Tess said, you said it, and you said it too. We're not alone. We can always ask for help. There are a lot of people out there willing to help, and I hope that today, there's not a lot of us left, right? But hope that what our message was, that it was carry through, and you guys will hopefully reach out to these amazing founders and leaders, and learn and be a part of them. Thank you so much, and thank you for Web3 Festival for having us. Thanks.
Thank you.